Now, Europe is facing the deadly tensions of a possible nuclear brinkmanship as Putin is testing out his nuclear weapons, and Donald Trump has now ordered for the United States of America to restart its nuclear weapons testing. The continent itself is bracing for the relentless superpower standoff with its fate hanging in the balance. Our next report gets you more details.
Putin's recent unveiling of the nuclear-powered cruise missile Burevestnik and the Poseidon underwater drone sent shock waves through Europe. These weapons, cloaked in mystery and capable of catastrophic damage, epitomize the Kremlin's push to modernize its nuclear arsenal and secure strategic dominance. Russia's drills included nuclear launch exercises that rattled NATO's eastern flank, signaling a fierce readiness to defend its interests. Not to be outdone, Donald Trump abruptly ended the United States' 33-year moratorium on nuclear testing, ordering the Department of War to initiate nuclear weapons testing.
Well, we would work with the Department of Energy, but the President was clear. We need to have a credible nuclear deterrent. That is the baseline of our deterrence. And so having understanding and resuming testing is a pretty responsible, very responsible way to do that. I think it makes nuclear conflict less likely if you know what you have and make sure it operates properly. So it's the right directive.
Europe is caught in the crossfire. In response, EU member states are rushing to build a war highway, an initiative reconfiguring infrastructure and easing cross-border movements of tanks and troops. The aim is to ensure rapid deployment across the continent. The goal is to fortify the eastern flank against possible aggression. The continent witnessed the horrors of 2 world wars and is now bolstering its defenses, fearing a third. Eastern European nations, Poland, Estonia and Finland, are fortifying their borders, while France and Germany are quietly coordinating contingency plans for a nuclear emergency. Yet neither Trump nor Putin seems ready to blink. Both men are locked in a contest of pride and power, and for Europe, caught in between. The 21st century's nuclear race is no longer a theory. It's back, and it's real. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
All right, now joining us all the way from Virginia in the United States is Mr. Bishop Garrison, who's a former senior advisor to the Secretary of Defense and a current senior fellow and adjunct professor at the National Security Institute at George Mason University Law School. Mr. Garrison, thank you very much for joining us here on WION. Now, I wonder if you can shed some light on this post by the American President Donald Trump, which has sparked a whole lot of speculation. Donald Trump has said that he directed Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, to resume nuclear testing by the United States of America. What is Donald Trump talking about here? Does he want the United States to carry out actual nuclear explosion testing, or is this more like nuclear-capable missiles that Donald Trump wants to be tested here? Because there is a lot of speculation that is doing the rounds. I wonder if you can tell us a bit more.
Yeah, thank you for having me. The big thing here, from what I'm speaking with nuclear experts, policy experts in this regard, their belief right now from what they're hearing is that it's the delivery systems, the missiles themselves and the ancillary equipment systems that make up the delivery system that the president is actually referring to, and not necessarily going underground and testing nuclear weapons, the warheads themselves, as we've done in the past.
It's interesting that you mentioned that it is the delivery systems that the American president wants to be tested, but the fact that the United States carries out routine tests of its Minuteman III missiles, which are nuclear payload capable missiles, how is that different from what the American president is now suggesting? And why is Donald Trump, putting this out so openly that he wants the United States to get back to nuclear testing, and what message is he sending out?
Well, a part of this too is the brinksmanship that comes with the breakdown of talks with Russia regarding the ongoing aggressions in Ukraine. As you already mentioned, there was supposed to be in Budapest an additional round of peace talks, and those were postponed, unfortunately, because of Russia's unwillingness, as I've said on multiple times on this network and on this very show, that Russia was not going to be willing to allow for Ukraine to enter into NATO membership. They were not going to agree to let Ukraine keep any territories that they see as Russian territories or to return territories that they've taken illegally during this aggression. So that was a major part of what's happening right now. Just as of within the last 24 hours, Ukraine reports that Russia has continued its bombardment of energy sites throughout Ukraine, and somewhere in the neighborhood of 150. So we're seeing these continued strikes throughout Ukrainian territory. Russia is not going to back down, and there are reports that they are secretly testing more missile delivery systems for potential warheads themselves. We know that they've at least tested and had at least one successful test, if not more, with hypersonic missiles. So it's not surprising that President Trump would look to go this route as he sees that these talks are breaking down. But I do want to caution folks that, at least in this initial stage, from what we're hearing as we understand it, is we're talking more in regards to the delivery systems themselves versus the warheads. And I know that that does not seem that nuanced of a difference, but it really is, to your point, that we do have these types of missile tests somewhat regularly. And when you have a nuclear triad in the way that we do, when you talk about the ICBMs and you talk about the bombers, you talk about the submarines, you have to ensure that these weapon systems are capable of delivery. And that's ultimately, at least at this initial stage, what we're discussing.
Interesting. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Bishop Garrison, for joining us with that perspective there.
Thank you for having me.